Sorry?
No, Vancouver South.
ਜੀ 600 AM ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਡੈਨ ਸਵੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਈਂ ਔਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵੀ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਇਹ ਨਵਜੋਤ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਵੱਖੋ ਵੱਖਰੀਆਂ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਖੋ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਾ ਸੱਦਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਤਰਤੀਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਿਊਸਰ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਮਨ ਹੋਣੀ ਤੇ ਦੀਪਾਲੀ ਪਲਵੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਹਿੰਮਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਈਨ 'ਚ ਬੰਨ੍ਹ ਕੇ 1 ਬਾਈ 1 ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਰੱਖੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਕਰੋ ਇਟ ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਯੋਰ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਫਰੋਲਾ ਫਰਾਲੀ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਯਤਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੜਨਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਦਦਗਾਰ ਸਾਬਤ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਦੈਟ ਬੀ ਯੋਰ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ। ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਨੇ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਕੁੱਕ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਤੋਂ ਪੀਪਲਜ਼ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਆਫ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੇ। ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਚਰਚਿਤ ਹਲਕਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਹਲਕਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਹਬੀ ਨਬੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਹਬੀ ਨਬੀ ਤੋਂ ਭਾਵ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਕੁੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਐਂਥਨੀ, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ, ਵੈਲਕਮ।
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
First of all, what's your background? What did you do so far?
I'm a building contractor. I build swimming pools. I've owned my own company for 20 years. I've been in that industry for about 35 years. And other than that, I'm a married guy with a couple of kids. I've lived in Vancouver South for 20 years.
Oh, you live in Vancouver South?
I do.
Contractor, and my assumption is that you got like a successful business person and money making is the priority. What brought you to politics?
I'm scared of what's happening in our country. I think we need to make some serious changes to the way we're governed. And in my life, everything I've ever achieved in my life started out with me saying, I can do that better than the other guy. That's how I started my business, other things, you know. I worked for somebody else, I can do it better, I started my own company. I see the politicians, I see what happened in Ottawa, and I don't like it. I think it could be done better, so here I am. I think I can do a better job.
What were you doing before PPC was born? Because you said you are scared. That's a strong word. So there were political parties already and people were running for different ridings. What were you doing? What was your role in politics? And
I wasn't involved in politics until my first involvement in politics was in 2017. I joined the Conservative Party in order to vote for Maxime Bernier as leader.
Okay.
And when Max left the Conservative Party to...
You didn't believe in democracy before PPC was born?
I believed in democracy as a voter, but I didn't take an active role.
You didn't like Maxime Bernier when he was in Conservative Party?
I liked him just fine.
You did?
Yes.
But people say that he's a changed person. He was a different person in Tory Party and he's a different person when he's a boss of his own.
You can look at Maxime's YouTube videos from 10 and 15 years ago, and he said the same things then that he says now. Even when he was with the Conservative Party, he talked about the same principles that we put forward now as our platform. He was a good soldier for the Conservative Party. He was doing what Harper wanted him to do, but you know when he made speeches, he spoke the same way he speaks today. The Maxime Bernier I see hasn't changed.
Anyways, coming back to you, so you decided to run. Have you been approached, or you always thought about running for a party, Maxime Bernier's party?
I never thought about running for politics before, but some people that I met through the PPC in the 2019 election suggested that I should give it some consideration. And I put my name in, and I was vetted and interviewed and was given the opportunity.
We'll talk about the issues in general, but I want to find out one or two issues which are on top of your mind, the ones you know you've always been thinking that if I get a chance then I'll work on these issues.
I've always the economy is the biggest issue, and it always has been. When I say I'm scared of what's going on with our country, one of the things that worries me the most is the Trudeau Liberals' monetary policy and the amount of money that they're borrowing and the amount of money they're printing. I mean, we're seeing it just today. They came out with a new report that August inflation was the highest it's been since 1993, and that's a direct result of monetary policy. You know, I was talking to a seniors group the other day in Vancouver South, and they're concerned about their money, and inflation is just a hidden tax people who are on fixed and low incomes, it directly takes money out of their pockets.
So you want to blame Trudeau for that, because when we talk to the economists and all that, they say that these kind of changes, they are not brought overnight. Probably this is the cumulative effect of different governments. Probably this is done by Stephen Harper and Maxime Bernier when they were ministers.
Well, that's what everybody wants to do, is blame the guy in before, but Trudeau's been in for 6 years now. And under Trudeau's government, for the first time ever, we see $1 trillion national debt, and the parliamentary budget officer suggests that it could be $3.7 trillion by the time he finally balances a budget in 2070. So it's pretty hard to blame Stephen Harper for something when we're looking forward to 2070 to still be getting down this hole.
If I ask you what's so good about Maxime Bernier as a person, as a leader, what's so bad about Aaron O'Toole and Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh? Can you give me one line each?
Well, I appreciate Maxime Bernier's honesty.
Honesty regarding what?
His platform. He's, like I said, he's been for 10 years.
He's been transparent, doesn't hide anything.
For 10 years, he's been talking about the same problems, the same solutions. Mr. Trudeau, he's made lots of promises that haven't come through. He promised election reform. He told us he wasn't going to increase the carbon tax, and he did. There's just any number of things that you can't trust him on. I don't have any particularly concerns about Mr. O'Toole or Mr. Singh. I don't see as much of them as I do Mr. Trudeau. But you know, their platforms don't appeal to me. I'm not an NDP supporter. I'm not a socialist. Mr. O'Toole, as a right-leaning person, I think Mr. O'Toole has moved his party to the left, and I don't appreciate that. It's not where my vote would go.
Similarly, Aaron O'Toole moved his party towards the center, because this morning he said, "I'm not your papa's party. We are different people now." So everybody wants to be different because demography is changing.
Sure.
So do you think, and keeping that thing in mind, Maxime Bernier's PPC is way, way far from the reality of the Canada today?
I don't believe so. I think we're painted as extreme right-wingers, but I don't think that we are. Our platform is pretty simple: fairness, freedom, responsibility, and respect. It's everything on our platform has to be vetted through those 4 basic principles. I don't think there's anything extreme about that at all.
Few of my friends ran for PPC last time, and when PPC was born and they were inviting people to come in and they were asking for donations, all that, at that time a perception came forward that this is an anti-immigrant party.
Right.
They don't like immigration. They are anti-visible minorities in Canada. They try to fix the problem, but I think the perception still exists.
I think it's a perception, but I don't think it's a fact. I mean, it's true that we're proposing to limit immigration, but the other parties have limits. So if our limit is lower than the Liberals' limit or the Conservatives' limit, who's to say that we're more racist than they are? That's not a definition of racism. It isn't. You know, you're racist if you let in 150,000, but you're not racist if you let in 250,000. It doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. I think that the perception came out in the media. I think that you're probably familiar with Warren Kinsella and his group that were hired by the Conservatives to make us look bad. And I think that some people believed what was said, and some people still do.
Let's talk about your Vancouver South, your riding.
Okay.
Are there any issues specific to your riding? Because I was reading a list of ridings. This riding is amongst the list that can be a sensitive one. Mr. Sajjan won last time, and things can change.
Things can change. Mr. Sajjan has a pretty fair chance to win again, I think. There's no doubt about that. I think housing is the biggest issue in Vancouver South. And again, people call us racist or anti-immigrant for our policy, but immigration drives demand. 40% of immigrants who come to Canada end up in Greater Vancouver or the Greater Toronto area, where the housing prices are the most out of control. Limiting immigration would limit demand and take some of the stress off of our housing system.
Do you think his star power was the one reason that he won last time? The role he played in Afghanistan? Afghanistan is a huge issue in this campaign as well.
It is. He's well known, and he's well known in the community. And you know, I voted for the PPC candidate in the last election. He didn't get a lot of votes, but I think that there's a large South Asian community, and Mr. Sajjan is, as far as I understand, well respected.
Money-wise, your party, what's the position of your party? Like, you know, you can't run campaigns without money. Did you get enough money, donations this time?
I'm basically self-funded. I got some donations, but
okay.
But the
you didn't even ask for?
I asked for donations and I got some, but I didn't get a lot. We don't. The party doesn't have a lot of money.
If somebody gives you $5, $10, it's not only the money; it's a commitment.
And it's the level. It's the support. They're showing support, and I did get a number of donations, smaller donations, but we don't have enough money to run a large campaign.
So how do you run your campaign nowadays? Like from morning to evening? Can you make us walk with you?
Well, I'm working as well. I'm still working, so I don't have full days to campaign. But I have volunteers mostly who are, you know, I meet with my volunteers. We go and we wave signs on street corners. We're handing out pamphlets. We're talking to people, knocking on doors to a certain degree.
Because we do talk about political issues all the time, and we did talk about the phenomena that happened in United States. Donald Trumpism.
Right.
Trumpism. Trump is gone, but Trumpism still exists somewhere in certain other forms.
Yeah.
People were saying that this PPC was born out of that Trumpism phenomena, and this was a new experiment that liberal parties, conservative parties, Kelly Leach, and PPC's Maxime Bernier, they wanted to try in Canada as well, but Canadian political fabric is a different one.
Well, you can call it Trumpism or you can call it populism. It's basically the same thing. Trump just took it to a new level. And populist parties have been gaining favor around the world in the last 10 or 15 years. There's populist governments everywhere. You can call it Trumpism. It's almost like an insult, but I don't see it that way myself. Because because it's populism. And what populism just means, you know, it has the favor of the people, right?
So you have full belief in the days to come, the party will grow. It's not going to go anywhere.
No, we're not going to go anywhere. The party's growing. You see our polling numbers right now. We're getting a lot of support, and it's only going to continue to grow.
So the main issues that we've been talking about was why the election happened. They shouldn't have happened at all. Secondly, Afghanistan came same day, Kabul, stories and all that. But still people are talking about did he do his job well as far as you know, dealing with the pandemic, and now we are in the recovery mode. How would you rank Mr. Trudeau's role as a Prime Minister?
Well, I don't think that the pandemic's been managed well on any level of government here. The People's Party position is probably different than a lot. We believe that from the beginning that the vulnerable should have been protected and the rest of us should have been left to get on with it and let the economy keep going. There's a lot of people out of work. We spent billions and billions of dollars in support, and now, you know, there's a big mess to clean up. Mr. Trudeau says that this election was called in order to, you know, get a majority so he can do that. I think it's just pure political gamesmanship. I don't think we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be here right now. We should be. He had 2 more years in a stable minority. He should have just run it out and gone to an election in 2 more years.
Do you think Trudeau is lucky, or his sunny ways are protecting him? Because he's been through a lot, SNC Lavalin, We Charity, and now he's running candidates who are like, you know, flipping, and he's pretending that he's an anti-flipping guy.
Yeah.
So is it just by luck that he's being saved throughout these different election years?
Well, it sure seems like the media is not going after him very hard.
No, we tried our best.
Well,
I'm telling you, 600, we tried our best.
Well, I'm glad to hear
We Charity and SNC Lavalin, I remember each and every episode of it.
I'm glad to hear that, but it seems like the national media gave him a pass. Every time this, you know, every time he went and he closed down Parliament or he stopped discussion on a committee, the media just stopped talking about it. And it was his method of getting out of it was, you know, through political gamesmanship. And I hope that he's going to be held to account on the 20th of September.
So, Anthony, I must say that you're all prepared about different issues, and you're not just a casual, you know, candidate. You are totally into this riding and totally into issues.
I've been interested in politics my whole life.
No, I can tell that.
I've just never been involved.
No, because I try to ask some tough questions as well, but you handle them well.
Well, thank you.
So what would you like to say to your voters of your riding in the end? And is there any contact number you would like to give?
I know a lot of people don't know a lot about the People's Party, but I would encourage everybody to go to our website at peoplespartyofcanada.ca and look at our platform. And if you'd like to contact me, my website is anthonycook.ca, or you can find me on Facebook or Twitter. I'm quite active on Twitter, and I'd love to hear from some constituents with questions.
You have any number there? You can leave number too.
778-929-5815.
Okay, this is not the end of it, because I just got a signal from my producer that we have a few minutes.
We got to go again. We got to start from the beginning.
What would you do, by the way? Let's say, I mean, you win. This is what you desire, and we wish that you should win. But what if you don't win? And then will you be still in politics, fighting for your passionate issues?
I don't know if I'll run as a candidate again, but I'm definitely going to stay involved. My plan at this point is to, because we only had 2 years from the last election, so honestly, we weren't prepared. We weren't prepared for this election to be called as early as it was. So my intention is to stay involved with the party, to stay involved with the Vancouver East EDA, which covers 3 ridings of Vancouver East, Vancouver Kingsway, and Vancouver South, and be sure that we have a war chest in place and that we have volunteers in place and we're ready to hit the ground running the next time an election is called.
You know what? Politics is not about money making. Everybody knows, especially in Canada. I'm not talking about other countries. So I think it's about time for you to retire from your contracting business and be a full-time politician.
I'm semi-retired now. I closed my company to all intents and purposes last year, and that's why I had time to do this. I only work a little bit. I work a few days a week, and yeah, maybe I'll keep doing this.
I'll keep your number, as you promised that you'll stay in politics. So we'll keep your number, and we'll ask your time in our regular programming as well in the days to come, even after the election.
I'd love to talk to you again.
Good that you came to the studio, sir, and you could talk to us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So ਇਹ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਕੁੱਕ ਹੋਣੀ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਕੁੱਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਤੋਂ PPC ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਸੁਣ ਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬੜੇ ਡੂੰਘੇ ਨੇ he's not just another candidate. I can sense that he's going to stay. ਔਰ ਇਹ ਗਲਤ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਸਹੀ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸਹਿਮਤ ਹੋਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਅਸਹਿਮਤ ਹੋਣਾ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਪਰ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਕੁੱਕ ਨੇ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਚੋਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਔਰ ਇਹ PPC ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਢੰਗ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਦੱਸੇ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਯੂਰ ਨੰਬਰ ਵਾਂਸ ਅਗੇਨ
778-929-5815
929-5815 That's your personal number, right?
That's my cell phone.
Great. So ਇਹ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਇੱਥੇ ਰੋਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਔਰ ਵੱਖ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਰਹਿਣੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਉਸ ਐਸੇ ਹਲਕੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਸਾ ਪਲਟ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੱਗ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ 'ਚ ਸਾਊਥ ਸਰੀ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ 'ਚ ਪੋਰਟ ਕਕਿਟਲਮ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ 'ਚ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਆਈਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਸੀਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਜੋਡੀ ਵਿਲਸਨ ਰਿਵੋਲਡ ਹੋਣਾ ਨੇ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਜਿੱਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਨਾਟ ਰਨਿੰਗ ਦਿਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਉਸ ਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਟਿਆ ਫਲਿਪਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਦੋਸ਼ ਲੱਗੇ ਨੇ ਸੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਲਿਬਰਲਸ ਨੂੰ ਝਾਕ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਸੀਟ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਲਾਂਗੇ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਹਟਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ 10-12 ਸੀਟਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਹੀ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੱਗੇਗਾ ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸੀਟਾਂ ਘੱਟ ਵੋਟਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਜਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਹਾਰੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗੇੜੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸੀਟਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਐਨੀਵੇਜ਼ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਰਹਿਣੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਫੇਰ ਆਉਣੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਨਵਜੋਤ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਰਮਾਣਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਵੀ ਜਲਦ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊਸਲੀ ਦਿਨ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ